A common misconception is that intellectual property cannot be credibly valued. But this is a dangerous misconception. According to Ocean Tomo, 92% of value in the US stock markets comes from intangible asset value. That's too big a number to ignore. In fact, intellectual property can be valued, but doing so is more complex and requires more than basic valuation expertise. Market data is opaque and it's harder to come by, and IP value is much more likely to have a different value in the context of whoever the buyer, seller, or licensor is likely to be. This makes judgment and experience all the more important. Fortunately, if you're facing a critical transaction involving intellectual property, you don't have to be satisfied with just guesswork. An appraisal will give you confidence in the value of an intellectual property asset so that you can negotiate from a position of informed strength. Whether you're buying, selling, or licensing, understanding the value of intellectual property will position you to make the best deal for yourself possible, which, by the way, may be a non-deal. It's okay for you to not accept a deal if the terms aren't right. You're better off not making a deal and living to fight another day than accepting something that's suboptimal. In addition, a robust IP appraisal will be a powerful tool in your toolbox in terms of due diligence from the perspective of a buyer or potential licensee. Furthermore, a sound IP appraisal will give you important information to help you determine the structure of your deal. A sound IP appraisal may tell you whether you should be licensing a technology or you should be outright buying or selling it. Any valuation will tell you what an asset's worth, but a great valuation will tell you why. And when you understand the why, you negotiate differently and better. You structure deals more intelligently, and you avoid very expensive mistakes. We had a client that was attempting to license some patents in the software space. He had been in the market for some time and finally got an offer, but it was an offer that he wasn't very happy with. But because it was the only offer on the table, he wanted to know whether or not he was getting fair market value for his patents or not. So he retained us to help him understand the answer to just that question. We told him that based on our research and our analysis that deal was well below market value, and we advised him to keep looking for a buyer who is willing to recognize the full potential value of the intellectual property. To our client's credit, he in fact did walk away from that deal. And less than a year later, he found someone that was willing to pay 3 times the amount that had been in the original offer. Thanks to our assistance, our client is millions of dollars richer than he would have been had he simply settled for the deal on the table. Any valuation will tell you what the asset's worth, but a great valuation will tell you why. And when you understand the why, it puts you in a position to be a better negotiator and secure a better outcome in the transaction. If you're contemplating an IP transaction and you want to get the best outcome for yourself, give us a call. We can help.